DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk, and we're going to get out the champagne. No, we're not. Anyway, we're celebrating. This is our 600th episode of DocTalk. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about bovine respiratory disease. We're going to talk about from before the calves get to the grow yard or the yard, preconditioning, processing, finding those sick calves, treatment and recovery. Thanks for joining us.
When you spot BRD in your cattle, that's your golden opportunity to target infection and its associated fever with a single dose of Resflor Gold, the industry standard dual therapy. To learn more, talk to your Merck Animal Health rep or your vet and see label at resflorgold.com. Animals intended for human consumption must not be slaughtered within 38 days of treatment. This product is not approved for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson and I'm glad you joined us today. Special day today. This is our 600th episode of DocTalk. This has been a long-term business and thanks to you for watching. Thanks to our sponsors, and we're going to talk a little more about some of our sponsors and special. The people have been with us throughout the entirety as the show goes on, but just really appreciate it. We're going to talk about something that I deal with every day, BRD, okay? Bovine respiratory disease, and we've done shows on it in the past, and we've talked about those shows and talked about these issues. But I want to break it down into before they get to us, when they get to when we receive them and process them, finding sick cattle, and then treatment and recovery. Pretty simple, okay? When we wean calves, I don't think we quite understand what we ask our bovine mama cows to do compared to what other industries ask their females to do in rearing the babies. You know, sows are in a farrowing crate and they're separated from those piglets, and the piglets nurse and they're in there for 3 weeks or whatever and moved on. Dairy calves are removed the day that they're born. The fish are hatched from eggs in a hatchery, and chickens are hatched in eggs, and here we go on the beef industry. We have these calves born out on the range out in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Texas. And what we say is, hey, by the way, not only do we want you to give birth to this calf, but do you mind feeding it, protecting it, helping it find shelter, and take complete care of this animal out in the elements for the next 7 to 8 months. And so it should be no surprise to us that when we go to separate the calf from the cow after we've asked that cow to do this work for us, that there's some stress involved. So what are some of the things that we can do prior to that calf being separated from the mother to decrease the stresses so that when it arrives at the feed yard, there's 2 reasons why animals get sick. Either an overwhelming dose of a pathogen or a suppressed immune system. And most of the times in respiratory disease, we're talking about a multiple layer of stressors that decrease that calf's immune system and they get sick. And so anything that we can do, whether it's making sure that calf understands that feed comes from a bunk, how to drink out of a water tank, making sure that we immunize them prior to shipment, preconditioning, all right, preparing those calves for a change of address is vital. And so we can talk about fence line weaning, which when we look at fence line weaning, that's running the cows next to the calves where they can communicate through the fence. If you do it only for 3 days, that's not long enough to make any difference in the outcome of weaning those calves when they get to the next place. Or if we do it too long, for longer than 10 or 17 days, it's detrimental. That 5 to 7 day window is really, really good. Nose flaps have not been really, the 2-stage weaning with nose flaps hasn't shown a lot of promise in decreasing the stress when we have that maternal separation. So either fence line wean or abrupt wean, making sure that we have great TLC, that we have good place for those calves to lay down, ample water supply, fresh feed, that we're going to immunize those based on whatever preconditioning program you want with the vaccinations, so that they have those vaccinations, because vaccinations take 5 to 7 days before they become effective. Getting those calves vaccinated 2 weeks and then a week and then the day of weaning is vital to the success of an immunization program, helping prepare those calves to decrease the amount of stress when they get to the feed yard. And we're going to talk about that when we come back.
DNA Dialogue is brought to you by Identity Beef, powered by Neogen.
I think there are very, very few slam dunks in the beef industry, right? There's always trade-offs to technologies, but the one technology that I don't think that there's any trade-off to is utilizing crossbreeding and generating heterosis in your herd. So this hybrid vigor that's created when we breed 2 separate breeds to one another, it gives us more pounds at the end of the day, and it makes more productive females. So if we're not utilizing crossbreeding in our herd, we're leaving money on the table both in the calf crop. So we're not generating the maximum amount of weight in a calf crop that we optimally would if we're crossbreeding, and the replacement females, that's where we get the biggest advantages of crossbreeding. We're definitely leaving money on the table there by not having that additional hybrid vigor that comes from a maternally derived cross of 2 separate breeds, right? So at the end of the day, if we're not utilizing crossbreeding, we're leaving money on the table through the absence of hybrid vigor in our herds.
We know how expensive it is to keep and maintain heifers. What is also the fallout of those heifers if they're not the correct ones you're keeping and maintaining? We want to do as much as we can to get it right before we spend the money to impact our herd further down that road and keep successive females out of the wrong type of females.
Identity Beef. Contact your Neogen territory manager to test today. Bovolus Nasalgen 3 offers young calves unrivaled protection against devastating respiratory diseases, including IBR, PI3, and BRSV. And it has a unique blue shadow, so there's no second guessing which animals have been vaccinated. To up your protection, choose Bovolus Nasalgen 3 PMH, the first and only intranasal that protects against viral and bacterial pneumonia. Talk to your veterinarian and visit nasalgen.com to learn more.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and thanks for joining us. Special day. 600 episodes is, I don't know, 13, 14 years of doing this, and there's been 2 or 3 of us partners, 3 of us that have been here since the beginning. Just fantastic work atmosphere, fantastic partnerships, and we're very thankful for you, the viewers, and our sponsors. And we're going to talk more about the sponsors when we get to the 3rd segment. But anyway, let's talk about bovine respiratory disease. And when we're talking about bovine respiratory disease, we're talking about those calves getting to us. And so things that we don't tend to think about are how we transport those calves. When we have lightweight calves and it's wintertime, making sure that we have trucks boarded, even bedding those calves to get them to the place that we're going to unload or the place we're going to receive them. When they do come to us, making sure that we use low stress cattle handling of bringing those calves off the truck, and when we put them in a receiving pen, making sure that we have control of the environment. If it's hot, we put bedding down so those calves have a comfortable place to lay and it's not as hot. If it's wet and it's muddy, we might get the box blade out and make one lap around that pen just so we give those calves a dry place to lay down, and then we add bedding to it. But bedding in those pens, calf comfort is vitally important. How long are we going to wait to process those calves? My rule of thumb is for every hour they're on the truck, I give them an hour rest. I want those calves to rest. I want them to rehydrate, because a calf that's hydrated, that's rested, the vaccine works. Delayed vaccination is not for me, and I hear a lot of people recommend delaying vaccination, 5 days, 20 days, whatever. I can tell you from our experience with bovine viral diarrhea being immunosuppressive, I want to vaccinate those calves as soon as possible. And obviously I'm giving them time to rehydrate and to rest so that the vaccine becomes an immunization. If they're preconditioned, they've already got it on board. But as we think through this, it's vitally important. Proper facilities, we've worked with Dr. Kip on many shows. Proper facilities and great low-stress cattle handling is imperative as we move those cattle from the receiving pen to the processing barn. In that receiving pen, great fresh water, hay, feed, something that helps those calves replenish, rehydrate, reinvigorate. We're going to work them very, very quietly and work with your veterinarian on a processing protocol. We have great vaccines, we have great dewormers, we have great steroid implants, all the above. The products are fantastic. And so putting together that program on arrival is easy to do and essential to the success of those calves moving on. Once we take them out of that processing barn, we're going to move those calves quietly to a home pen. And so some of the things that decrease morbidity is putting them in one load lots or one load pens so that we don't commingle again. And our data shows that when you put those pens together, if it takes us longer than a week or 10 days to put the pen together, we're going to have issues. So if we buy 10 this week, 10 next week, 10 the next week, and we're constantly adding on that pen, we have cattle at different stages of respiratory disease, and that can create us some major issues. So planning the trip, planning the receiving of those calves, planning the processing, and planning your pen maps and how you're going to stage those cattle are things that you can't manage through a bottle or through a needle in helping prevent bovine respiratory disease. When we come back, we're going to talk about identifying sick calves in the pen. You're watching DocTalk, and we're glad you joined us.
When it comes to treating BRD, you want a product that you can count on to get the job done at an affordable price. Macrocin by Bimeda delivers on both. A straight shooting, no BS tulathromycin that does what it's supposed to do. End of story. You don't need to take our word for it though. Go to macrocin.com for customer testimonials and head-to-head trial results. For your cattle and your bottom line, choose Macrocin.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed LidoBand, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. LidoBand, a small device that can make a big difference.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and it's a big day. A lot of years of planning, a lot of years of processing, but we're on our 600th episode of DocTalk. And we've had a couple of sponsors that have been with us from the very beginning. And one of them is Merck Animal Health, which we're very, very thankful. And the other one is Valley Vet Supply. And we're very, very thankful for them as well. And both of these groups have been tremendous sponsors, and they're the reason why we've been able to stay on the air and continue to bring DocTalk to you either live on national TV or through the YouTube channel. And so for a celebration of the 600th episode, they're going to, for a limited time only, for the first 600 customers that place orders on Valley Vet Supply's website, they will have $10 off of any Merck purchases of $60 or more. And all you have to do is type in the code word DocTalk, all caps. DocTalk, one word, all caps. Thank you to Merck, thank you to Valley Vet, thank you to you, and hopefully, we have many more episodes to come. So we're going to talk about bovine respiratory disease. And when we talk about respiratory disease, I want you to think about how we're going to find those calves. One of the techniques that we'll use is using hay. New cattle crave hay. And the nutritionists will say that if cattle aren't eating 1.5% of their body weight by a week and a half on feed, there's a respiratory issue bubbling in that pen. And so we're wanting to stimulate appetite. We're wanting them to eat. And so one of the things I like to do, I love to put out great high quality grass hay. Calves go to it and they will consume it. It's also an easy way to pick out which calves aren't feeling well, because calves that are sick don't eat, and cattle that don't eat get sick. And so as I feed and everybody comes up except the two in the back, I've got an idea of two there. Another thing that we want to do is we want to acclimate the cattle to people. Cattle that aren't docile don't show clinical signs because they're scared of us. And so what we can do to work with that pen and kind of gently acclimate them to being used to us being in the pen and knowing that we're a caregiver, not a two-legged coyote or predator, helps them lower their shield, and all of a sudden they start showing clinical signs because they have trust in us. If they're wild, the time that we see the clinical signs, a lot of times it's too late. So docility and acclimation are important. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for calves that are off by themselves. I'm looking for calves that are depressed, head down, sunken eyes. I look over that paralumbar fossa or in their side and see if they're gant, if they're anorexic and they've stopped eating. Okay, those are some of those. If they have some stiff gait to them, locomotion scoring. I want to make sure I get all the calves up. I want to make sure none of them are lame. And then I want to ride through those calves and look through those calves to see, do they have a dry nose? Do they have sunken eyes? Do they have dropped ears? Do they have a depressed, dull appearance? And then again, look at that side. If they're not eating, something's wrong with that calf, whether it's sick or whether there's some social adjustment within that pen, something that we need to take that calf to the chute and examine it. The last thing I'll say on this is, the sooner you pull a calf in the disease episode or in the illness, the better chance you have for that animal to recover. Don't wait. When we have a calf that's sick, we want to get them in the chute. The earlier, if we have a severity score 1 versus severity score 3, there's 3 times the likelihood that animal's going to succeed with treatment and live than if we wait until they hit a severity score 3. So good early pulls, paying attention to the clinical signs. Now we're going to get them to the chute and we're going to treat them and recover them. Thanks for watching DocTalk.
The cost of an open cow these days is very expensive. It's hard at times to dedicate a half a day or a whole day to leave your practice to go palpate cows. And so alertness test has helped speed the process up of getting preg rates back to the owners. And so free up time for diagnostics or working in your clinic. It also will help generate revenue, not being on site to do the testing.
When a new calf hits the ground, the clock starts ticking. A belly full of colostrum gives them their best chance, but if they don't get any, time starts running out. That's when you grab a bag of Oxford Ag Colostrum in their patented feeding system. It's simple. You fill it with warm water, shake it to mix, feed it with a tube or a nipple, and you are done. No bucket, no bottle, no mess, and right on time. Ask for it by name wherever animal health supplies are sold.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and we just want to say thanks. Thanks for watching DocTalk. Thanks for being with us, over 13 years, 600 episodes. Who would have thought? We're very, very humbled. We're very thankful for our sponsors, and we're very thankful for our team. We work hard, and we hope that we're bringing something that brings value to you, the beef industry, and beyond. We're talking about respiratory disease, and we've identified the sick calves, okay? We found the sick calves out in the pen, so we're gonna bring them to the chute. And when we bring them to the chute, before I bring them to the chute, one thing I like to use is a pull ticket. And a pull ticket can be just a piece of paper. It can be a little notebook. It can be whatever, but I wanna write down the calf, when I pull it, and why I pulled it. Because mainly for lame cattle. So if I pull a lame steer and I get it to the chute and I have 10 of them up there and I pull them and I put one in the chute and I'm like, I can't diagnose lameness when it's standing there. I have to watch it move. So that helps clarify before they get there why I pulled animals and how severe I thought they were in the pen. Then I'm gonna do a physical exam. And the physical exam is gonna be taking a look at some of the same things I saw in the pen. I'm gonna go up and look at the head. Do they have a dried nose? You know, when you got chapped lips, when you start to get a cold, calves get a chapped nose, okay? Their eyes will be sunken in because they're dehydrated. Their head will be down and depressed. Ears will be dropped. Those are things I'm looking at the head. Then as I work back along the body, I'm looking at, is that calf off feed? Is it slab-sided, gant? And so I'm looking at the clinical signs. Now I'm gonna take some measurements. And the one that if you're gonna take anything, take a rectal temperature. And the normal rectal temperature or body temperature of a steer is 1015 to 1035. And when we start to approach over 1035, now we're saying, okay, this animal, now in the summertime, sometimes rectal temperatures or body temps will run a little bit hot because of the ambient temperature and the animal can't cool its body. But when we're in the fall and the winter, generally speaking, we start to get in that 104, 105. We've got a respiratory disease issue. If you want to make sure it's respiratory disease, one of the things we employ at PAC a lot is we do lung scores. And we will auscultate those lungs and we can hear the lung sounds. So elevated rectal temp with lung sounds is a good indication that that animal has respiratory disease and needs to be treated. Once you have the case definition, clinical signs, and supportive physical examination, your veterinarian should be providing you a treatment protocol. And that will be, for the most part, which antibiotics are we going to use to treat bovine respiratory disease. I can't stress enough of working with your veterinarian to develop clinical definitions and treatment protocols so that you make sure that you're staying in lock sync with modern medicine and are able to go back and evaluate how are our treatments responding. We want 75 to 80% of the calves that we treat for respiratory disease to never come back for a second treatment. We want a case fatality rate to be between 5 and 10%. What's case fatality rate? Case fatality rate is the number of cattle treated that died divided by the total number of cattle treated. So we want 5 to 10% of the cattle that we treat or less to die of respiratory disease. If it starts to get higher, we're not pulling deep enough, we're not finding the sick cattle soon enough, or maybe we need to change our regimen. But anyway, bovine respiratory disease, most common cause of death in cattle in the United States, something that we work to prevent every day, precondition, acclimate, animal husbandry, finding sick cattle soon, everything goes hand in hand. Thanks again to Merck Animal Health and Valley Vet Supply for being sponsors of DocTalk through 600 episodes. Thanks to our crew here, thanks to you. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian, and if you want to find us on the web, you can find us at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here with our crew at DocTalk, and we'll see you down the road.
At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
From sunrise feeding to midnight calving, it's planning and prepping every last detail so your family can enjoy the finer things in life. It's careful feeding, impeccable breeding, and herd health protocols to keep your slice of the industry forging ahead. More than just a website or print catalog, we're a dedicated partner with everything you need right when you need it. valleyvet.com.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed LidoBand, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. LidoBand, a small device that can make a big difference.